Hey traders, what's going on? Kurt Capra back here with T3 Live's daily recap. And another summertime day. Markets pretty much sideways, cues you can see on the daily chart more or less trading inside of and around the range that we've been in the last couple days. You can see on the 60-minute chart up here on the right. Here's your range, upper part being around 117, lower end being around this 116.30-ish area. It's what we're dealing with, and as I've spoken about in prior videos, got to watch that 60-minute trend. Looking at support here, mentioned this one in yesterday's daily recap. You can check that out if you wish, but came down, held that level, and so far hasn't broken it. So we'll see what happens in the days ahead. But buyers did step up here, and this is why you got to know your levels. If we get under this area, then we could start seeing a more significant move lower through 116 and maybe even down towards 115. So something to keep an eye on. Now, the S&P actually did break support, but it wasn't able to really get any momentum going to the downside. In part, that was because the Qs found support, stabilized, and that acted as a bit of a floor, if you will. In addition to that, it also came down on top of this prior breakout area where we cleared last week. And so that's acting as some support as well. And you got the 20 MA. So there were some other factors here helping to hold this up. And that's why it's so important that you have to look at multiple time frames and consider what's going on, not just in one time frame, but across the board. We can't look at things in a vacuum because a lot of times it just doesn't work that way. You just don't get that good quality follow through unless it's something where all time frames are in agreement. When that happens, that's when you see the acceleration. That's when you see the follow through that we all look for as traders. Case in point would be, just to bring it up here, BABA cleared 85, been following through to the upside here. Does have earnings tomorrow before the open, so we'll see if that changes the landscape at all. But that's the kind of thing where it had a breakout on all time frames, 60-minute, daily, etc. Everybody saw the same thing. You got some nice follow through. So those are some of the things you want to keep an eye out for when analyzing multiple time frames and deciding whether or not to place a trade. Now, looking at some other things, we had oil, which I highlighted in the morning call express this morning, as well as in the daily recap from yesterday. But not sure why this daily bar isn't updating. But in any case, we broke that support and pulled in here today. So that's exactly what I was suggesting may happen. Question is now, will it pull in a little more and then form a higher low before pushing back up? Or is it going to come all the way back down? We'll see. As I said in prior comments, I'm kind of thinking that it'll pull into this area here, 960 or so, set in a higher low, and then begin to move back up. Creating a bear flag type of pattern on the daily, which will put us somewhere in this area around 1050, 1065-ish, and then we'll see a move back down. So that'll be something to keep an eye on here as well. Gold had a nice gap up today, but really fizzled out, pulled back in, really not much happening in gold. And as I offered in prior videos, it seems that it's finding itself within this 130 to on the upper side of the range to 125 on the lower end of the range. It's just kind of sitting in that range at this point. It's sitting in that area. So we'll see if it starts to create a tradable range where we can just pick the top and the bottom to generate some flow, or is it going to start getting all volatile and just got to stand aside. Other than that, like I said, we've got BABA earnings tomorrow. Something else that I think is worth looking at is the IBB, which is the Biotech index, and it was weak today, down, finding itself down at the bottom of the list, losing about 2% on the day, and As you can see here on the daily chart, it's been moving lower the last couple days, so it's not new weakness. It's not something that is day one, so to speak, right? It's been moving lower. Same thing with the XBI, the S&P Biotech. This has been pulling back in as well. And now with these biotech, the biotech space into support on the daily chart, also coming in the last couple days. Going to flip back to IBB here. So it's down the last couple days. Today was bigger than the prior days. It's into this support area. I'm thinking that this is going to stabilize and turn higher tomorrow. Don't have any position based on that. We'll have to see what tomorrow is offering, but that is something that I will be watching for, is to see if now the biotech space starts to change gears a bit, starts to stabilize and begin to move higher. So those are some of the things that I will be watching. Another one that was weak today, XLF, financials. We had JP Morgan pulling in, Goldman pulling in, right? So that also aided in the weakness we saw today with the S&P. So we'll have to keep an eye on the financials to see, is this going to fail? In other words, are we going to see a reversal of today's weakness tomorrow? Or is it going to give additional follow through to the downside? That's definitely going to be an important factor in where we go from here. So that should be one of the question marks that you have going into tomorrow and watching. All right, so with that, as always, make sure to subscribe. If you liked the video, thumbs up. Any questions, comment section below. Until next time, though, have a great afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day, and talk to you again soon.